Hello everyone, I am back from Bologna and the Future Film Festival. It was a good edition of the festival, although its theme was kind of the worst ever. Let me explain. Do you see this? This is my press pass. You see it has an Hulk action figure here. So, I know what you're thinking. Hey, what is this year's theme? The Incredible Hulk, the Avengers, comic book films in general? Is biological food. Because you see, during the same period of time we had the Expo, the world-renowned Expo for biological food and the discussion about how to feed the world in the next century or so, which was happening in the city of Milan, up north. Which also took all the best private sponsors, but that's another matter altogether. So, you might be thinking, what does the Hulk have to do with biological food? Why are the two things combined? Because Hulk is green. That is the sound of your brain farting. Yes, it's really that lame. But regardless of that really weak parallel, this year the festival was quite solid indeed. It was a neatly superior version, a neatly superior edition than last year's festival, whom only had 9 films for the Grand Prix, for the main competition, so to speak. This year we had, once again, 10 films. And there were a lot of good ones. There was a lot of variety being the key word. But before I start talking about them, I'm going to do things a little bit different compared to the last 2 years I discussed the Future Film Festival. Instead of going through all the films that were candidated for the main competitions prize, I'm just going to sit down and talk about what were, to me, the most interesting films, regardless of main competition or outside of the competition. I am doing that for one main reason. The film that won this year is called Giovanni's Island. It's a Japanese animated feature film produced by Production IG that tells about an interesting and sadly forgotten period of time right after the Second World War, in which an island in the Japanese coast was taken over by the Soviet Union. And the story is told through the perspective of 2 children, 2 brothers, and this is basically their saga. And it's a perfectly fine and serviceable film. It's really well animated, but the problem with that is that I don't really have much to talk about it. I don't have much to say about it. And that's why it's an extremely ordinary and conventional film from an execution standpoint. It doesn't stand out in the slightest to me, especially compared to the pamphlet of this festival and how it usually is. There are a lot of films that are much more interesting and worth talking about from both a visual and thematic standpoint, even if they might be worse films than Giovanni's Island. That's the problem. Giovanni's Island is completely unremarkable. Almost completely. It has a few good moments, but like I said, it's extremely conventional compared to some of the other films. So that's why I'm just forsaking the whole reporting of winners and losers and all of that, and I'm just going to focus on whatever I want to talk about, which is going to be a much more fulfilling experience for both me and you, audience. With all that out of the way, let's start actual talking about films. And we're going to start with the one film that was candidated for the main prize, in competition that is, the one film that everyone and their dogs was expecting to win. the one film that should have won, actually. Tomm Moore's Song of the Sea.
This is an ancient shell that my mother gave me a long time ago. Hold it to your ear and listen carefully. You will hear the song of the sea.
I'm starting to believe this is the most unappreciated masterpiece in a long while. How did it not win an Academy Award for Best Animated Feature, or even this festival for that matter, remains a mystery that shall be passed from generation to generation through songs and long-forgotten hymns. Song of the Sea is the most gorgeous animation of the year, with its evocative backgrounds, foregrounds and overall sceneries carefully crafted like ancient paintings of Celtic yore. Embedding this diegesis into an atmosphere of artistic mesmerizing in between a child's vivid dream and the natural beauty of the Irish landscape caught in a moment of extremely good lighting. It visually empowers and perfectly frames a fantastic tale about loss, the sorrow generated from loss, and the need to let it go for both your sake and the sake of those who still love you. More specifically, it tells the story of a family, father and two children, torn apart by the disappearance of the mother, whom apparently gave her life to give birth to the youngest girl. It evolves into a journey of discovery and self-discovery for both the older brother and the sister, coming across several figures and mythological creatures from the Irish folklore. It's interesting to notice how said creatures do end up resembling the real-life people from the kids' family and world, with their own stories being the allegoric representations of whatever struggles said family members are going through, which provides a thematic parallel between humans and fairies that cleverly frames this entire narrative. It wouldn't be exaggerated to state that this opus can easily compete with the best Hayao Miyazaki's films, with its incredibly adorable protagonists and the way it implements the traditional stories from its land of origin in a way that makes them universally appealing to foreign audiences. The same couldn't exactly be said for the spiritual predecessor, Secret of Kells, if you ask me. What I'm saying is that Tomm Moore is basically the Irish Miyazaki. Song of the Sea is the most visually unique animation to be found in Europe, and you need to watch it right now.